Okay, we are live. According to Hangouts.
Yep, I got the notification.
Yep, I don't know about YouTube's taking the time. There it goes. All right, here we go. Welcome from behind enemy lines to Rick's Life as I See It, Shooting with Disabilities. A 1-hour talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from you, the listener. Put it in the chat boxes. I am Simon Caston, that's the word, on gunchannels.com and on YouTube. If you've got anything to put in there, if you don't want to put it in the chat and want to send me an email, send it to Rick's Life as I See It at gmail.com or my new shorter version, spottedrick.com. Also, if you can't stay for the whole hour, the audio file will be on Podbean, Stitcher, or iTunes, normally within 24 hours of the broadcast ending. I have spreadshirt.com thing there, t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff. If you want a picture of my decal on that, just type in Spotted Rick or Rick's Life and my stuff should come up. I've got a GoFundMe going right now, and because I'm moving out of state, I'm moving to Indiana, and I got this new map for overall freedom in the United States. It says Indiana is number 3. Overall freedom. So I'm going up in the world. I just put the link to my GoFundMe in the chat on YouTube. And anybody on gun channels wants to join the panel, I just put that in the chat box. And also, some people get on the chat on gun channels, there's a glitch in the actual, if you're watching it on my page, if you click that little chat rooms button at the bottom right-hand corner, that works better. If somebody types in there, it comes up straight away. So I want to say hi to David Bolin, General Relativity, Beaverwood Outdoors. Who else we got? Rich White. And we got Patriot in the Dark doing double duty on me here. So, yeah, they're doing double duty. General Relativity and Patrick are on gun channels as well. So we're looking good so far. All right, and on my panel right now, I have Rupan RX and Squib, and Patriot in the Dark more likely will be back, I'm hoping. Yeah, here he is. And we got Patriot in the Dark. They're on my panel. So how you doing, Patriot?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Rick, for having me.
Okay. Rupan.
Hey, I'm doing good, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Squib.
Hey, good evening. Happy hump day.
Okay. All right. So because my topic for tonight on the disability side is how, I was thinking with that hurricane, if that was going to hit Rhode Island right now, being prepared to hit the road, or, really, I know we all say, SH, when the shit hits the fan, scenario, and you get your go bag or your bug out bag or whatever. That's a natural disaster, say. How to being disabled. For argument's sake, say you're in a wheelchair. And it says it's an electric wheelchair. How are you going to recharge the batteries? Do you take a second? Do you keep a second set on hand for this situation?
You're gonna have to tow a small generator.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Live.
I was wondering how that worked. I like myself. I was all into this, prepping stuff, and I got to pick it back up now that I can actually move now. But there I was getting my stuff all together in my bag, and I said, "How in the hell I can't even lift the goddamn thing with my bad back and my hip?" So I gave up doing it. But I need to restart it again. But still, again, I don't know. Let's see. How do you prepare for it, Patriot, if something like that happens?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you listen to all the chats and everybody does something different, but like medication, that kind of stuff, and I take insulin or whatever. But there's things like that you got to really think about.
Insulin has to be refrigerated, doesn't it?
Depends on who you talk to, but yeah, it's supposed to.
Okay.
But some of it'll last for a month or so. But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I have the stuff to bug out if I had to, but it's not really anything I've really thought about.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing for you. I mean, Night Strike's joined us. I mean, hello. Night Strike can answer to this because he was just about ready to bug out the other night.
I had everything packed in the fucking car, all 3 of them, ready to leave. And it's just like, no, all clear. You don't have to evacuate. It's not coming your way. And I'm like, I curse so many times. It's not funny. I won't do that on your chat, but it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, like Rich White says here, a lot of people that get caught in these storms are disabled or in nursing homes because they can't just pack up and leave on short notice. Yep. Hey, Patriot, I mean, Night Strike done this, but if a natural disaster was coming your way, I mean, do you take all your guns with you, or do you just take, your carry gun and enough ammo, and hopefully that's going to do it? You know what I'm saying?
It's different too. Me being blind, it's not like I'm just going to take off and start hiking north or whatever. I mean, I could, but
yeah, you can't just jump in the truck and take off, can you?
Yeah.
But you'd have to watch out for cliffs. That's all I'm going to say.
They're not so bad. You just got to watch that first step. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if something was like that, I mean, I have family that have, a local farm that's, out of the way, and so I mean, if anything, I mean, I could go there, but it's not something I could just, get out and, I mean, I could walk it, but it would take a week or so. I'm not as young and as peppy as I used to be. I would be, but
I know that.
Takes me a while to find the right direction, but yeah. So it would definitely include someone else, which always kind of stinks. But I wouldn't go anywhere without my daughter anyway. So
yeah. Hey, Rupert, how are you all set up for one?
I got like a kind of a go bag. I kind of have like 2 different go bags staged. They're not really packed, but they're staged and ready to be packed if needed, so I can kind of piece it together. But I don't have much, so I mean, I got stuff. I've been trying to get rid of a lot of the junk in the house. That way, it can be very, whatever needs to be taken can be easily grabbed, and we can go. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Night Strike, you loaded up all your guns, correct?
I loaded up all my guns, ammunition, computers, clothes, food that I needed, into 3 different vehicles. So one of them is an SUV. The other 2 are, one's a Grand Marquis. So it's like G. Webb's old cop car. It's only a luxury one. And then I've got a Ford Taurus that I loaded up. But, the point is, everything was ready to go. And then it's like, yeah, my neighbor comes over and is like, yeah, you don't need to worry about it. The governor said all clear.
Who was going to drive 3 vehicles?
I have family, so I was with my family. So some of my other family members were going to drive one of the vehicles as well. I was going to drive the SUV. No, immediate family, not cousins.
How's Ellis doing? Is he all right?
Ellis is doing fine. I believe Ellis is in Jasper County. They gave the all clear for like the 4 innermost counties that they said originally they were going to evacuate, because they found out that it wasn't going to be as bad in those counties, or at least that's what they say. So mine was one of them. Ellis is the next one over. So because he's literally just like a half an hour drive down I-95 for me. So
just want to say hi to Coat Fan 3000 in Gun Channels. Good to see you there. First time I've seen you, or I haven't paid attention before. Or it's somebody else with a new name. I don't know.
Rick, let's be honest. You don't pay attention as much as you should.
No, I don't. I'm terrible.
Yeah, we noticed because, you were really paying attention last night.
I listened to every word.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't talk.
No, you didn't. So,
if
you don't say anything, how am I going to know you're there?
Hey, if you wanted a slot where somebody would be talking back on your show, you could have invited me, but you didn't.
I did send you a link.
And
Where the hell did it go?
And also, Night Strike, before we got to the first topic, you spoke for 45 minutes.
Whoa, a full Jackson, dang.
That's why I was so quiet. I'm thinking, God, when's he going to shut up and get going? Not that I'm saying anything, just.
Okay, fair point. But
it was a good show, though.
I was trying to get the information out there, and yes, sometimes that means I go on a bit, and I'm sorry, guys, but.
Oh yeah, I was munching away on potato chips and stuff, listening to you guys.
Oh, I'm upset I missed it. I got home at 9:30. I'm gonna have to check on the rewind. It was pretty 45 minutes.
So
Night Strike went on for 45 minutes. Yeah,
I'm bugging out.
Non-stop.
I was reading an article, by the way.
Without taking a breath.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how he done it.
Well, when you've got the lungs, you've got the lungs. Because I stopped smoking 10 years ago. My lungs are still good.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a good show. But anyway, we're talking about my show anyway.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
we're talking about bugging out, right?
Disabled people being ready for, major disasters like this. I mean, I would have to rely. I mean, luckily, if it happened now, I can get to my truck and get my stuff loaded by myself. Because I can actually, if I can't lift it because of my back, at least I can drag it. You know what I'm saying? Before, I couldn't even do that. So, but that's another reason why I'm moving to Indiana, be near family. I mean, I'm going away from hurricanes to tornadoes. But, it's still a disaster if one comes along.
Now, Rick, have you got one of those ramps for your wheelchair that you can just attach to the back of your truck and just drive right up?
Well, my scooter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a ramp. I got a ramp, but I only just got that. But I have a ramp. I have a ramp that actually, where your tailgate. I mean, not your tailgate. What you call it?
Hitch.
Hitch. I got a platform that hooks onto the hitch.
Okay.
So it sits on the back of the truck as I'm driving. But since I'm towing, I'm using that to tow the trailer, my hitch. I got to take that off, and hopefully, I'll run the scooter into the trailer. But if it doesn't fit, it does come apart into about 7 pieces, so I can always throw it in the back of the truck. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that works.
Oh yeah. But so that's one thing I said. I mean, in a natural disaster, would I take all my guns? I don't know. Would I need them all?
Well, you have to figure it really depends on where you're living, Rick, because in what we've learned from previous natural disasters, depending on where you live, some asshole mayor may decide, hey, let's ban the Second Amendment and take everybody's guns away and destroy them right in front of those people.
Yeah, you're right. That was happening in New Orleans, wasn't it?
That had happened in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. I'll tell you right now, if anybody tried to do that to my guns, I'd probably shoot them. I don't mean that to be...
But you wouldn't be able to shoot them if you saw them in front of you because they'd have them all. Yeah.
They wouldn't have any of mine, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad they didn't try to go over to the bayou and grab some out of the bayou. They never left.
Now, I know last night you were reading that article about that town in North Carolina trying to do it.
Yeah, and then they got caught with their hands in where they shouldn't be.
But then those two
the Firearms Policy Coalition and the Firearms Policy Foundation.
And they rephrased it. But then again, the way I look at it, the way I was going to say this, but I kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to start a big argument.
Well,
You know,
Rick, even if you start a big argument, go ahead. If you got something to say, always say.
What I was going to say is, those, because you read those letters, what those people said, and I'm thinking to myself, I was being the devil advocates in my mind. I'm thinking, so we got these gun organizations writing these letters to me, telling me how I'm breaking the Second Amendment and everything else. Now, this is if I was the mayor of that town, and this is what I decided to do. I would say, fuck those two organizations. I'm going to do it anyway, because it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask to do it.
Well, you got to look at the logistics of it too. Do they have access to that many police officers, reserve police officers, sheriff, National Guard, that they can literally go house to house, kicking in every door?
Well, they got to. I mean, if they were evacuating.
Right. So the order would really be for the.
In there.
It'd be for the people who stayed behind, because I mean, with the Katrina thing, they were going to the houses where somebody actually answered the door because they didn't evacuate, and they were trying to disarm them. Right. I mean, they weren't going into empty houses.
No, they weren't.
So
now, what they did down in Narlands was wrong. That I don't know whatever came of that. If there was, if the NRA ever jumped in after the fact and tried to sue anybody, or nobody did anything.
Violated constitutional rights is what it did.
Right,
and actually, it also violated state constitutional rights as well.
Right, but during an emergency situation, and most of the people have evacuated, and you've only got a few people left. Now there's enough cops and sheriff and National Guardsmen that they can do that sort of thing. Whereas if they literally had to take them out of every single house, they wouldn't make it down the street before they got shot up. You know what I mean? But if there's only one person left on the street.
But Squib, I'm pretty sure the Constitution applies all the time.
It does. I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm not saying that
during emergencies.
I'm not
saying what they did was right. I'm saying it was easy for them to do. Because normally, when everybody's home, the ratio is there's more of us than them. But if you've got some people that didn't evacuate, and believe me, I'm not going to evacuate unless they come to my house and force me to evacuate. I've gone through them things. They're not as bad as the news makes them out to be. It's just whatever. So I'd be one of them a-holes that was staying behind with the power out going, I'm not getting stuck in the traffic trying to get back here. But, that would make me vulnerable if somebody tried to do that because they're going, less than 10% of the population still here. We can stick it to them now. It ain't right. I'm not saying it's right. It's just, it makes it easy for them.
Yeah. Then where I was going with this, so they done it. I mean, okay, so they got caught. Oh, I'm sorry. Rich said right here. We
only meant illegal stuff.
Rich said right here, the former mayor of New Orleans is largely responsible for issues that arose from Katrina, and those idiots reelected him. You can't fix stupid. He said, oh, well, sorry, but they reelected him. See, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to come out and ask to have it done, because most people say, go fuck you.
So just given the other side of that, was it because there was people still hanging out down there and they were worried that they were going to go into other houses and start stealing weapons?
Somebody brought this up to me.
They were breaking, the National Guard and local law enforcement were breaking into people's houses of those people who stayed and taking their shit. That's what it was.
Somebody told me about this, and I had no idea it had happened, so I just looked at one video. I should have done more research, but I did one video, and it was clips from a news feed, and they're showing a National Guardsman going down there, and they're in one of the nicer neighborhoods. They're not in the crime-ridden neighborhood where there was all the looting. They were in the more upscale neighborhood, and they're knocking on doors, and it's like, okay, this is a little bit weird. I could understand if you were in the neighborhood where most of the guns are stolen, where most of the people having guns already have felony records, where they're doing the looting, where, but when you're in the neighborhood that, okay, maybe these guys are guilty of white-collar crimes, but, at least their guns are obtained legally. So I didn't do enough research on it to really be able to follow up, but I did see video footage of the National Guard going through the more well-to-do neighborhoods down there.
Yeah, but back to the original thing. That mayor it was a city in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
That because they're going to be hit with the hurricane, right?
Yeah. Well, what was it? What was it? Leland, North Carolina,
Yeah.
or Leland, or Leland?
Yeah. He said he was going to take the guns to. For some reason, I can't remember what it was now. You when you read it out, but it doesn't matter what reason. It's totally illegal. It's against the Constitution. But where I was going with this is I was playing the devil here. Was I would say screw you, I'm going to do it anyway. Then after the disaster's gone by, I go, oh sorry. You know what are you going to do to me? No, you know you ain't going to do anything to me. You know.
Now, what if just on that same note, what if people left, right, and for some crazy reason they didn't take their firearms, right? So they left a bunch of firearms at their house. Now, is that somehow considered abandoning them? And if some looter comes in and steals that stuff, would that be some kind of a legal thing that they could use to say, oh, well, see, we're just trying to protect everybody? Not that, that's just...
I never thought about
Yeah,
that.
I know what you're saying. You're trying to say...
Because, oh, well, they abandoned it, and we're just trying to secure everything. So
Yes,
Right, because our elected officials do stupid stuff like that to screw us over. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking like a moron to think like one of them.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on. I was reading, I don't have a lot down here, but, did you read that article where, the Republic, it was in what? It was in Northern California, a Republic, somebody who's running for, I think it's, I'm not sure what he's a Republican. I'm not sure if it's state or federal he was running for, but he was at the state fair and somebody tried to attack him saying F Trump and tried to stab him with a knife. I thought, geez, I mean, what is this country coming to?
Is that the guy who's running for president as a Democrat now? There's a Republican from, a former Republican from California, and he's like a super white nationalist, so I could totally see someone trying to stab him. But he's running as a Democrat now. Dude's cooked.
Oh, I haven't read that one, but here's another one for you I just got written down here in Pennsylvania. The grandson of Wallace. Wasn't he the vice president back in the day?
He was a governor, I thought, and he ended up...
Well, anyway, this is his grandson, right? I mean, in 2000, he moved to South Africa. Now he's come back.
Henry Wallace, I think it was.
But while he was in South Africa, he belonged to a club that was anti-Jewish and black. And he's running for Democrat, But he didn't think anybody would find out about that. I tell you, when you go into politics, you better not. I mean, you got to be almost squeaky clean nowadays. Can't have anything. Can't have anything high.
They went after that director, and someone didn't like him, so somebody went through his entire Twitter account every year and found out 5 years ago he was trolling people on Twitter, being rude and nasty, and that got his ass fired, man. He's not making the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was trolling somebody on Twitter 5 years ago or something, or 8 years. So stupid. Really?
Oh yeah, I know.
Rick, about that Wallace guy, I think the thing you're talking about, Scott Wallace.
Okay. Yeah, that's not the same. I was thinking that.
Yeah, no, his grandfather was Henry Wallace, which was one of the guys. I think he was a vice president under Roosevelt first time.
That's what I thought. I remember something about it anyway, but that's what I got written down here. Well, I mean, I got stuff here.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, see ya.
Later.
The kids to bed.
Thanks for joining. Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
Later, Squid. Later, Patriot. Later, Night Show.
Later,
everybody.
Here's another thing I picked up. It's got nothing to do with guns or politics, but as I say, I talk about anything that comes to my mind. But you see the new drug of choice in prisons now? They are spraying Raid ant and roach killer onto paper and letting it dry, then giving it, because they said, oh, they want writing paper, so I brought some for them, handing it over, and it's already impregnated in it. They either smoke it or chew it to get high. I tell you, they're sneaky.
So, let them.
But there you go. I mean, that's
and over a bunch of cans of Raid.
You know, and
Raid.
You know.
Well, I hadn't realized that those in prison were roaches.
You know, but I just read that, and what made me pick it up was the headline caught my attorney barred from prison for 3 months because there was actually some paperwork that was actually typed that the defendant's family wanted to give to him while he was in prison, and the lawyer took it in for him. And I guess they're on to it now, so that somehow, I don't know, either they got something that can pick it up or they're sniffing it, or I don't know, but this paperwork he was bringing in was covered in the stuff, so the lawyer got banned from going into the prison for 3 months. But that's what caught my eye, and then I went reading it, and it's Raid, bug killer that they're sniffing.
Well, I hope that roach repellent kills off those roaches.
Yeah, I didn't realize it could get you high. To me, the stuff's goddamn stinks.
But Rick, I want to backtrack real quick because we were talking about Leland. There's one thing we missed entirely that we should probably mention. Okay. Every state in the United States has their own state level constitution. As well as following the federal constitution, which is the United States Constitution.
Yes.
Right? So, but Leland, North Carolina, violated Article 1, Section 30 of the North Carolina Constitution, which states the same thing that the Second Amendment states. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, talking about that Rhode Island here, and the Rhode Island State Constitution, it's exactly same as Second Amendment, word for word.
Right.
So I totally understand.
So it's just that, while in municipality, city, they can try that, but if you violate state constitution as well as federal constitution, I don't care how good your lawyers are, you're going to get your pants sued off you.
Well, no, hang on. No, you're not. Take Washington.
Well, unless you're in California.
Yeah, no, take Washington State on that. I mean, talked about it. Yankee Marshall, 1631, whatever it was totally against the state laws and everything, and it went to the Supreme State Court, right, for the Ninth Circuit, in other words, and they overturned it. They said, we know they broke the law not doing this, but you can't question it, so it stands. It's going back on the ballot. They totally disregarded what the law said.
Well, the whole West Coast in itself is, I hate to say this, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but we really should just write it off because there's no, I don't see us being able to save the West Coast right now with all the liberal nut jobs out there.
Wasn't that just they were trying to put it on the ballot, and then they said you couldn't do it, and then they went back and said, well, they went through the process and put it on the ballot, so we're just going to put it on the ballot.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make it law. I mean, if you get enough people signing something, I'm sure that there's obviously ways you can change. I don't know.
Yeah, but it all goes. I mean,
trust me, I didn't pay attention to it.
I mean, I try and get the news out there. And I don't hate California. I don't hate Oregon or Washington. But when they have bad laws, or when something good happens, I always mention it. Because not everybody will find it because all they hear is bad stuff come out of those states. You never hear anything good coming out of those states.
But then again, I mean, you know, those states. I mean, take was it Illinois?
Yeah.
Well, 5 or 6 years ago, everybody said get out of that state. Now look at them now; they got concealed carry and everything else. So it could change.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about a year or two ago? You had the whole thing with Springfield Armory and Rock River Arms.
Then you have like 33 counties that are sanctuary counties for firearms. So yeah.
Yeah. So you know, it's interesting. Sometimes it comes in ways for good, and then it comes in ways for bad.
Yeah.
Well, since you dredged this up, I want to bring up something from when the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands was enacting that emergency, whatever it was, emergency response, something other clause in the law, saying that the government could seize assets that they needed to deal with the emergency, and everybody flipped out and immediately said, they're coming door to door for our guns. And that wasn't the case at all. So I just want to bring up that there are places, I'm sure the Virgin Islands aren't the only place, where they have the ability to have first responders, National Guard, the law enforcement, people like that, seize assets as long as they compensate you for it. Not your guns. I'm talking about they need gasoline. They need a backhoe. They need medical supplies. They need a flatbed truck. They need, for some reason or another, say the National Guard's coming down the road and the road is blocked, and right across the street there's a backhoe. They're going to go get that backhoe to you know, lift the tree out of the road or whatever it is, or the tow truck or whatever it is, if they can get access to it, and then they've got to compensate the owner for use of it or for taking it. If they've got trucks rolling into town, and for some reason or other the convoy that's behind them doesn't catch up to them or get stuck, or you know, the road floods or whatever, now they're cut off from their fuel, but they can siphon fuel out of these tanks and run their trucks off there. They're supposed to compensate whoever owns the fuel in that tank for the fuel they take. So that's what those emergency orders are for. It's to help them to be able to provide emergency services. If they've got to take over a big building because they need a big place to set up cots and start feeding people and taking care of the sick or whatever, they've got to pay like rental space more or less. And all this is done after the fact. And officers in the military are trained on how to handle this and how to do all the paperwork and everything else. And it's supposed to be just for emergencies. It's not supposed to be abused. So there are some times where they have a legitimate reason to seize private property, and it has nothing to do with kicking in your door and taking your guns.
I don't believe that.
Well, then obviously you've never had to deal with one of these situations, Strike.
No, I haven't, and I don't want to. But
I just want to say, anybody who wants to join the chat, the links are on the gun channel side of the room. You know, and if you're not a member of Gun Channels, I suggest you join. It's free. So there you go. I'll just mention, I don't know if Just Dano wants to come into the room or not, or I see him out there. So anyway, I just want to mention that. Carry on. Let's carry on. What's next? What have I got next on here? I don't have much of anything, really.
You tell us, Rick. It's your show.
It's my show. It's all right. No, I mean, I'm trying to think what else caught my eye today. Now, I've had a rough day today. I got up this morning, packed the box. You know, I thought I'll get one before doing. Then I had to get my truck down to. I had to get my truck to my my mechanic's place by 9:15. I got that there. Then my friend come and picked me up. Of course, Mondays I normally go to his house for coffee. So we went back to his house, and I said, I need to go home. You know, I mean, I was there for to lunchtime. I thought, Jesus, you know. I said, then it started pouring the rain. He said, it's raining out there. I said, he said, you take my truck. So I jumped in his truck, and oh my God, he's got a Ford Ranger. And I tell you, the steering wheel was sitting in my gut. I put the seat all the way back, you know, and everything else. I mean, it's a small truck. And what made it worse, it was the standard. So then I start using. I mean, I can drive a standard. I mean, I learned how to drive a standard. It's not a problem. But oh my God, when I lifted my leg up to do the clutch, the muscles around my new hip, I went, "Oh Jesus Christ!" You know. But you know. So I got home. I managed to squeeze myself out of it and got indoors, and you know, then it was just one. Then I got online here, and it was just one of those days. And I had to go back to my friend's house, pick him up, go get my truck. Well, I squeezed myself back in the truck. You know, get over to his house. I get out, knock on his door. It's raining again. He says, "Come on in." So I come on in. He says his wife's home now. So they're both talking to me. I'm there for another 35 minutes before we even make it down to the garage. You know what I'm saying? I just had a bad day.
I'm trying to picture Rick in Ponnery's Fiat 500.
I thought about that too.
You know, there's only certain cars I can. I mean, I'm a lot bigger than I used to be. Believe it or not, I used to have a Ford Ranger. Back in 2002, 2003. You know, and I said, ever since I got disabled, I mean, I put on so much weight, it's embarrassing. I mean, I don't mind telling you just how embarrassing it is. I mean, I've lost, actually, went to the doctor's last week. I lost another 10 pounds. So I've lost 40 pounds in about 7 months. So,
Rick, I'm prescribing a move and more range time.
Yes, but where I'm going with this is before this, back in January, when I went and saw the surgeon about my hip, it was embarrassing. They weighed me, and I weighed a biscuit under 400 pounds. That is embarrassing. You know, I've never been that. I mean, hell, I must put on 120, 130 pounds. So I've lost 40 of it, and I'm still working on it. So if I can get back down to what I was before the accident, I'll be happy. But I plan on losing more.
I have to ask, since you're originally from England, how much does a biscuit weigh? Just
well, it depends if it's covered in grease and bacon. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you know, I got you there.
Are you covered in grease and bacon?
Did you have grease and bacon for breakfast?
No.
Oh, but grease and bacon taste so good, though.
It does.
It
does.
Well, that's true, but so
that's
does
how you get to that weight. Believe me, I know. I'm right there with you.
Hey, I'm not saying that I don't eat the stuff. I cheat. You know.
By the way, getting back to our previous conversation about seizure of assets, I just wanted to pop and say Squib is 100% correct in regards of the government's right to seize private assets.
Can I get a soundbite of that? Because I could use that a lot in my life.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct.
There you go. We need to get a soundbite of that.
Don't worry, it's recorded.
It's recorded. There you
But
go.
it's really about seizing assets to deal with the crisis. They're not going to kick in your door to get your AR-15 when they've got M4s. They're not going to kick in your door to get your 6.5 Creedmoor ammo when they're using 5.56 NATO. They're not going to kick in your door to take your silver or your Bitcoin or
your gold or your Karambits or your divorce.
They're not going to, we've got a constitutional amendment about soldiers, boarding up in your house. I would say they would use a public building like a school or something like that first. And then if they had to seize a hangar or a warehouse or something to set up a mass shelter, that would be the next thing in line.
HBS is not here.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, just a quick break. Sean Connery goes, for some reason I thought you started a half hour from now. I keep telling you, I'm on Eastern time, not your Houston time. You know? So there we go. Oh, he says they're not going to kick down your door to take your bumfire stock when they have full autos already.
Yeah, they're not going to fake it like a wannabe. They're going to do it for real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, but back to California real quick. Did I read? When does that start? Where they start having to get? I read something in the news the other day, whether they're fighting it or whatever, where they now got to have background checks on buying ammo, and they got to pay for it too. You know, so now there's two registers.
I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as going across the border to get it, because a couple weeks ago I was in Las Vegas and I was inquiring about buying a firearm and bringing it back, and the first question they asked was, "Are you from California?" So they may have stuff set up in place with the bordering states about people going across the border to buy it.
That's it. That's what made me read it.
No, Squib, did you say, hell no, I live in a free state?
No, that's another thing, too, is you can only buy ammo from licensed gun dealers or ammo dealers in the state of California. No out-of-state ammo is allowed. So
I think the FFLs might be concerned that it might come back at them if somebody bought it. Say if they just bought a long gun, because that's what I was looking at, right?
Yeah.
And they took it back across the border, and for some reason or other, it was outlawed, illegal, whatever. And they backtracked this thing and found out that they bought it. They just drove up I-15 and bought it in Las Vegas. Maybe FFL could get in trouble with the federal government over it. I don't know. I don't know enough about the laws, but I know it's bad enough that companies aren't wanting to do business in California because of all what you have to put stuff on labels on pretty much everything that you sell in there that says has been known to cause cancer within the state of California, and companies don't want to relabel their stuff or something.
I mean, I think even bullets have that written on them now in California. These bullets may cause cancer, let alone kill you.
Which also cancer does.
Yeah.
You might want to tell the politicians that.
No, don't tell them. Otherwise, they might try and outlaw guns. Oh, wait, never mind.
But I mean, it's just like this item contains substances known to cause cancer, but only in the state of California. Apparently nowhere else does it.
How did California get this bad? I mean, has it...
You know what it is? I think people just didn't show up to vote. As much as I hear about there being pro-2A people there, and I understand the big cities control this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. But if there's really that many people that are conservative or pro-2A or not for the nonsense or don't want to pay the extra taxes or don't want the restrictions or don't want the... What the heck is going on? I'm thinking they're just not showing up to vote. I can tell you that I know people here in Michigan that are pro-2A. They don't want to go vote. They're too lazy. And, you got to kind of kick them a little.
Or they're outnumbered so dramatically that it almost doesn't matter if they vote.
Well, some people think that, and I'm thinking, okay, what if every one of you who thinks that your vote doesn't count showed up to vote? Would you right the ship? Let's find out. It's hard convincing somebody who goes, it's just too much work. It's like, really? It's a mile down the road, and, it's 45 minutes out of your time.
And out of all this, I slipped into the local thing and I've done my vote this morning, too.
Before you left.
We had our primaries today. So
I think there's no excuse not to vote. I mean, even if you think, well, it doesn't make that much of a difference, there's no excuse not to vote because it takes such little effort.
Yeah. So I was looking at the primaries today, and for lieutenant governor, we had a Democrat, and a Democrat.
There's a Republican.
There wasn't one. And
it's time to leave the state.
It's because Rick's the only Republican in this state.
And
I think so.
The NRA grade for them, one didn't have one. The other two were F and F. So I mean, that's the kind of state I live in.
What's
Rick? I think it's time to get to leave Rhode Island.
I am. So I'm bringing my Republican stuff with me. That's the only problem with Texas. Before long, Texas will be a Democratic state.
Sad.
Because Austin is Democratic, Houston's Democratic. I don't know if Dallas is yet, but I imagine it'll get there. Because these people are leaving New York, California, but they're bringing their politics with them. If you're leaving the state, leave that shit behind too, for Christ's sakes.
Well,
You know?
The lefties don't believe in that. They believe in turning every new state they move to into just like their old state.
Yeah. Now, take New York, for instance. If you go into the country side of New York, I mean, some of them are pretty gun-friendly people. But most of the population lives in and around New York City. So that basically they control the state. Because they have the numbers, you know? And that's like California too, isn't it? The big cities have the numbers. You know? Which makes it unfair. But, hell, what can we say? That's just the way it is. But you're right, Squib. You need to keep voting. Because you never know.
I don't think they should ever make it a law where they force you to vote.
No, you're
but
right.
But I do think it's kind of like the right thing to do as a citizen. And I just wonder if all these people who said my vote doesn't even count actually voted, would something change? I just wonder.
Yeah. But if you don't vote, you've actually given the other side a free vote. You know?
I'm sorry, but if you don't go and vote, you don't get the right to complain.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't. Yeah, sure. You got your First Amendment right. Sure, great. But if you haven't voted, don't come to me complaining about how the political system is and how your guy never gets in. Because I'm just going to say, well, your guy didn't get in because you didn't get enough assholes like yourself out there to go fucking vote.
There you go. You're right. You're right. I wouldn't have put it exactly that way, but yes.
Well,
if you don't vote, then don't complain about what's going on.
Right. I mean, I always go out and vote when I can. Okay. Yeah, that does mean I didn't get to the governor primary this year, but again, they had a runoff, and I voted in the runoff. Okay. But again, I didn't complain about the choices for the governors for a governor primary. I didn't complain about the governor's choices because I didn't vote in that primary. I only voted in the runoff.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I totally understand. Well, man, 7:47 already. Wow. When you're having fun.
Conversation going, Rick.
Now, when they're tallying the votes, and you've got these independent parties, these third parties, the smaller, unknown or rarely known that rarely get into any sort of position, the U.S. taxpayer, the Constitution Party, or the Green Party, or Libertarian, or whatever. Do you think those parties look at their numbers every year to see if maybe they're on the rise, and that encourages them to keep going or to throw their hands in the air and go, why do we bother? I mean, I'm one of the people that says we need more than 2 parties. We really do. We don't need 16. We need more than 2. So I'm just wondering if, even if you voted for an independent, if that number would get counted somewhere that would encourage that party to continue on for the next time and the next time and the next time.
I mean, Squib, what about 5 parties? Do you think that's enough?
I mean, 3 or more, but I don't think we need 16. But
I'm saying, does 5 sound like a good round number?
Yeah, I guess, sure. I just think more than 2.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, Squid.
I mean, like in England, they have 3 major parties, but then they had the Green Party and they had the Communist Party. You know what I'm saying? But the 3 is Conservative, Labor, and Liberal.
Wait. Does the Communist Party speak Russian?
No.
They need to fix that.
But,
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh yeah, guys! When I put that link for my GoFundMe, do I need to put it in there again?
Yeah.
Any nobody on YouTube here? Let me go back and find it. Where is it? There it is. Let me copy it. Or I can paste it. Copy. Go back to here. Go back over here. Paste it in there. And hit it. Enter. There we go. Now, there's my GoFundMe page, and also we got some great prizes in there. Dead horse, potatoes and lead, David Wright. They've all come together and done. And I'm throwing in one of my new stickers I'll have. I'm throwing them one in there to everybody who donates too. Is the prize is Gunslick. I think it's 2 bottles of Gunslick oil. I think a part from Strike Industries. You can either, it's your choice. You can have a part for your AR-15, a Glock, or an M&P. There's a list of them. You have to get hold of Dead Horse what the actual parts are. Plus, there's a wooden box with.
Did I win something?
With the Gun Channel's logo burned into it to put all your cleaning supplies in. So the more money you get, the more votes you get. I think it's one vote for $10, 2 votes for $15, or entries, I should say. Entries. The more money you put in, the more entries you get. Because at the end of the thing, when I finally move, I'm given this list and where everybody's name. Because on the GoFundMe page, it tells me who donated and how much. So we can work out the entries and do the drawing that way. So there you go. Just wanted to let you guys know before I, shut down tonight. So, I mean, we've got, I think Sean's still in the room. I believe to be honest with you, I backed it up a week. So I won't be there the 1st of October. I'll be there the following weekend. The 1st of October is a Monday, actually. September ends on a Sunday. That was when I was actually going to leave that weekend there, but I backed it up until the following weekend. So, so it's 19 days. Well, I mean, we really did, it's 19 days till I move.
And then you can be a Midwesterner.
So, Rick, when did you go down to actually see this place for yourself?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
One of my cousins lives next door. She lives in the same place. She lives on the other side. It's a 2-bedroom ranch duplex. She lives on the other side. So she told me what hers was like. I'll go for it. Hey, the price is right. You know what I'm saying?
Price is always an issue.
Yeah. I mean, this is a 2-bedroom ranch with a carport, right? All the yard work's done by the landlord. Even the snow shoveling's done by them and everything. All that kind of maintenance is done by the landlord. And I don't mind telling you guys, this is costing me $325 a month.
That's not bad.
You know what I'm saying? For what I'm paying for what I got now, my 1-bedroom here, it's a huge difference. I'm gonna have so much money, not so much money, but I'm gonna have money left over to get caught up on my bills. And once I'm caught up on them, I'll have money to buy guns.
No.
So there we go. So no problem, Dead Horse. I'm glad you brought that up, but I forgot to mention that at the beginning about the prizes. So there you go. So
money to buy guns? What's this?
Well, buy guns?
Yeah.
I haven't bought a gun all year. It's pretty sad.
You sound poor.
I am. Well, not really. I've got a good life. I might not have money, but I mean, real overall, I mean, the way I look at it, there's people out there worse off than I am.
Oh, far worse off.
You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, I'm hoping now that my hip's fixed and I can move around and I don't need to use the scooter so much. I don't know what it's going to be like in the wintertime with the arthritis, because don't forget, I suffer from severe arthritis. And when it's warm and like this, I feel pretty good. So I don't know if I'm going to have to use the scooter in the wintertime, when my joints won't move, But if I can keep this up, and so I'm going to try to find a part-time job too to help supplement the income.
Well, Rick, once you move down to Indiana, I'll talk to Real Call and have him check up on you.
All right, good man. Yeah, I might even sell my truck and buy a car. Then I'm going to get hold of Dano to become a Uber driver.
Oh.
You
Competition.
got to make that Uber money.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know?
Uber time.
I don't know if it'd work where I'm going in Indiana. I said there's only 450 people in the town I'm moving to.
Yeah, it might not.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's like you have to do what I do is you have to drive to the big city to which for you is Evansville.
Yeah, but didn't you get in trouble for doing that?
No, that would be your home base.
Oh, I thought you got in trouble for driving around somewhere where you weren't scheduled to drive around or something.
No, I didn't get in trouble. They changed the policy.
Oh, okay.
You know, I used to drive into the Chicago area and out in my home area. Then they changed it where I had to pick one or the other.
Oh, okay. Man, they're making it tough.
Liberals.
Must be a liberal company. It's got to be, especially with their gun policy.
Yep.
You know,
It's very much like YouTube. It is although there are people there, it's a nameless, faceless corporation. So if you have any problems, good luck.
Hey, Vanessa. I'm glad you showed up. We're almost ready to close her down, but I'm glad you're here. You know, from the sunny state of Connecticut. You know.
Connecticut.
Also, what I'm going to do, I was talking to G Webs, and he made sense. He says, because everybody knows I've got my home base Rhode Island carry permit. Then I got 6 other non-residents permits. I got to send in for change of addresses on them all and turn my Rhode Island into a non-resident when I get my Indiana permit. But keep them all going, then I'll have 8. You know? I'll see how many I can collect. Then I need to get me one of them wallets, you know, that go down. So when I get pulled over by the cops, they say, you got the license for that gun? And I can go, yeah, look, which state you want?
You mean like in those old TV shows where the cop would show out how many badges he has?
Yeah, or how many credit cards somebody has when they go, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much does it cost you to maintain all those?
Most of them, actually, the one I might give up, to be honest with you, is Massachusetts. Because Massachusetts is $100 a year for a non-resident. But they changed the law last year. It used to be the same for residents too, but they changed theirs now. I think it's $100 for 5 years, I think. And there was talk to do the same for non-residents, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, since non-residents don't have elected politicians in Massachusetts, there's 0 chance of that happening.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You are a source of revenue.
I mean, will I keep sending them $100? I don't know. The only thing is I might not, because the only problem with this is, right, they did relax the rules. You used to have to drive up there every year for an interview. Now you don't have to drive up every 3 years. So when my 3rd year's up, I ain't driving all the way to Massachusetts for an interview for a goddamn permit. You know what I'm saying? So I might just let mine go once the year's over, because I ain't doing that.
Right. I mean, that would make sense. Just let it go until it expires on its own.
Yeah.
As long as it's not costing you anything.
Yeah. Oh, Vanessa goes, besides opening up my wallet with all the permits, she goes, then open a file folder with all the appropriate gun laws for each state too. Oh yeah. So I mean, because it varies. As I said, on my trip, it's almost quitting time. On my trip, we've talked about this before. I'm going the long way around, as I want. One state that worries me is New York. So I'm heading through. I'm heading on 95 to Route 9 in Connecticut. And on Route 9, I'm going to get on I-84, cross into New York, and head straight to Pennsylvania. And it's 125 miles. If I can get, and that's the only state that bothers me, is to get across that 125 miles. You know, because I'm not saying legally under federal law I'm allowed to carry them if I keep them separated from where the driver is, and keep the ammo separated from the actual guns, which I will do. But if you got a state cop or town cop has a wild hair up their ass, they could hold me up for goddamn hours or days, or they could even just be assholes, confiscate my weapons,
Which they do.
Yeah, and I could be screwed. So that's why I'm going to follow the speed limit, and just get through that 125 miles. I mean, so it's going to add a little bit extra to my drive, but I'd rather do that than take the chance of going down 95 through Connecticut into going closer to New York City. And I think the route, I think it would just clip New Jersey. And I definitely don't want to go into New Jersey. They're worse than New York. To get onto the interstate to go into Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm going the longer way around, to miss that.
Now, are you intentionally going to drive like 3 miles under the speed limit just to give yourself a safety zone in case you get tired?
Well, I was thinking of going 4 miles over, but 4 miles an hour over the speed limit. But
I mean, because if you set it on cruise control and you start getting tired where you don't really see down the road, it'd be easy to get a ticket, and the last thing you want to do is make your trip cost more.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mean, I do use cruise control. I think it's the greatest thing ever invented.
I mean, 4 miles over, day-to-day driving is one thing, but when you're leaving town for good and your budget is tight, you don't need to take the chance on every place you're going to is picking up tickets all along the way.
True. Also, with the out-of-state plate, they're going to notice it faster too.
Yes. And the fact that that you had this thing called U-Haul attached to your truck.
Yeah, with big U-Haul written on it. Yeah. So they know I'm heading somewhere. So, there we go. Anyway, that's it. My time's up, guys. My hour is up. We made it through another one.
I thought you were kicking the big one.
So I appreciate it, guys. Everybody in the chat rooms, Vanessa, Rich, who else do we have in there? General Relativity, I think that's how you pronounce it.
That's Einstein.
Rich White, I said him. Sean, Gun Loving Grandpa Stanley. Just Dano was in there too. He's at Patrick.
Yep.
Who else? David Bolin. And Patrick was doing double duty too. So there we go. Before I leave, though, last minute plugs. Just Dano. Anything to plug?
What's that?
Anything you want to plug?
Nope.
No, you're good? All right. Night Strike.
Shut up, you infringed!
All right.
Guntube.org. Check that out.
Oh, yeah. Guntube.org. If you don't go over there and sign up for that, you're missing the boat. It's a good place to go. Patriot, any plugs?
Sure. Why don't you go check out Ghost has a new podcast. He's got a really interesting first candidate for his podcast.
Is that gone out yet, or is that going to be?
Yeah, it came out today.
Oh, it did?
So, yeah, you can find them all over, I guess. I just followed the link in his Patreon, but yeah.
Okay.
And,
all right. And I happen to know who the guest was, actually.
Yeah. And also, today is the last day for the Patch Batch 2018, or to get in on the buying the patches from your websites, the new ones for this year. And Clover's got some South African kid for the youth shooting.
What, for tonight?
Next Generation, yes.
That's tonight. That's starting here any minute now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Overtake's next. Then Never Enough Ammo. Then I don't know who's after that. Then you got Daily Gun Show. Squib, any plugs?
Lock and Load Monday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone. Well, one of the two only time zones. It's on the Hawaii Volcano Squad, and just tune in, and we just try to have a good time. So.
All right, great. All right, thank you guys and everybody. I'll be back again on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern with Rick's Life as I See It. I'm going to keep doing, I'm hoping to be able to do up into the last Wednesday before I leave. I doubt I'll be doing the Saturday one because I'll be packing and loading the truck up. So I hope to be able to do a show up to then, and I plan on, and I told everybody last week I got some more stuff off of G-Webs to do prizes. And so, I got one of his gun patches and one of his badges that I'm giving away. And if you want to know what the question was, go back to last Saturday's chat, and I won't make you listen to it all. Go for the last 5 minutes or so, and you can hear the question. And you can write in, right? You've gotten to Friday midnight to get the answer into me. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. I will see you Saturday.
Adios.